Okay, welcome everyone. It's Grandma Mo and covering the Stanford and Oregon game that was at the Invisalign Classic at the Chase Center. And I've been waiting for it to come on. I couldn't see the whole game. The only thing they put on was the highlights. But I got to see quite a bit. Um, Playing some of it right now. So anyway, um, very impressed with Ogden from Stanford. She is each game she looks stronger and stronger. And one of the things that I saw that wasn't happening in some of the games was just coming down and instead of trying to go all the way to the hoop, pulling up for a short jumper. Ogden did that quite a few times in this game, and very nice to see because it's a little 5-7 foot jumper is pretty easy shot, and you don't have to force your body into the defense. So Stanford beats Oregon 64-53. Oregon's 12-2. Perhaps they didn't. I'd have to look at their schedule and see who they played, because schedules right now don't necessarily mean a whole lot. Because if you've just played a bunch of weaker teams, you could have a great record. But anyway, Stanford gets the win. They outscore them 19-12 in the first. Um, Oregon comes back and outscores them 13-12 in the second, and they outscored them in the third 16-13. But then Stanford kind of poured it on in the fourth. Pretty sure they did that in their last game too. Fourth quarter just poured it on and outscored the. I think it was against Washington. So they outscore them 20-12 and get the win 64-53. Stanford shot 40%, 40.3. Oregon was 32%. Three pointers, they were 33.3, which is respectable. Oregon only shot 14. Free throws, they were 6 for 10. That's not great. I mean, you should be more like 8 for 10 to be, on a quality team, 7 or 8 for 10. 70-80% is where you want to be. Rebounds were even. Offensive rebounds were even. Assists, Stanford had 14 assists to Oregon's 8. Oregon had 5 blocks. Stanford only had 1. But Stanford had 11 steals to Oregon's 9. Turnovers were 16 apiece each team. That's a little on the high side. You want to try and keep it under 12 if you can. But sometimes these faster paced teams, they'll have more turnovers and it won't matter so much. It's like if you watch Caitlin Clark, she'll have turnovers, but it's because she's taking chances. She's pushing the ball and taking chances. There's a good side and a bad side to it. It's like you get some great plays out of it, and then other times it's like, ugh, you know. Um, okay, so looking at the scoring, Ogden, great game from her, 20 points. Um, Agara, Agara, 5 points. Sumfai, I was impressed with her last game. She's been doing the work down low. 14 points, 11 rebounds for her. Very nice. Lapalo, their point guard, she only had 2 points, but surprising she only had 1 assist. Um, she had 1 rebound and 1 assist. Usually you get a lot more than that out of your point guard. But the highlights that I watched, she was handling the ball really well. So Haley Swain, 10 points for her, 3 rebounds. And then Clarity. So Clarity and Ogden and Sumfai seem to be their three, their big three. And they're the ones that are, excuse me, going to do most of the scoring. And definitely like what I'm seeing from them. And it's going to be really interesting. Stanford's not a top 10 team or anything, but I was looking at the top 25 votes, and Stanford got some. They didn't go into the top 25, but they got like 20 votes, 22 votes or something. So they're knocking on the door. They keep playing the way they are. I don't know. I see Stanford definitely vying for something in the ACC, and it'll come down to playing some of the other teams. So Clarity had 11 points, 5 assists, and 3 rebounds. Oregon, um, Jacobs had 11 points. You had Katie Fizzo. I think it's Fizzo or Fizzo. She had 14 points. At 2 ETUTE, I don't know how to pronounce that. Um, she had 14 points. And those were their high scorers. You had Lang with 8. And that was pretty much it for Oregon. So, they have a pretty good record, but they do not look as good as Stanford does. So, all sorts of things can change in the, as the season goes on. But I want to look a little bit at Stanford's upcoming schedule. Let's see. So they have now beaten Washington, who has now fallen out of the top 25. And then I'm sure that has something to do with it. And then now they've beaten Oregon. So they're going to go play Cornell and then NC State. So NC State on January 1st will be a good test for them. And then they've got 16th ranked North Carolina. So by January 5th, we're going to kind of know where Stanford is. If they somehow beat these two teams in North Carolina, and it'll be road games. So, and then they got to play Duke. Although Duke hasn't been playing that well. But, early in January, we're going to get a feel of just how good Stanford is, how they hold up against these teams. And then they play Notre Dame in February. So we'll see how that goes. Notre Dame and Louisville will be coming up end of January and early February. So that'll also give you a, measuring stick on how Stanford's going to do. But I've been impressed with them. And I'll cover as much as I can find on them and throughout the season, and we'll see how they do. We'll see if, they hold up to scrutiny, because they're young. I think there's one other player on Stanford that's a senior, but they're all filled with freshmen, sophomores, and juniors. So just the whole uproar from Tara Vanderveer leaving and recruits leaving and all sorts of stuff. So anyway, that's it for this one. There's a couple other games I wanted to look. I briefly started looking at the Louisville-Tennessee game, and that, I watched about half of it, and then I had to go do something else. But it looked like street ball to me. It was like you're going by watching, 5-on-5 at the local park. Just a whole different structure to the game. Not right or wrong, just different structure. So, anyway, that's it for this one, and we'll see you next time.